On October 16, 2025, the Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission, EERC, held a public hearing at the International Conference Center, Enugu, convening a quasi-judicial panel to review a tariff petition filed by MainPower Electricity Distribution Limited. The session drew a diverse audience, from industry experts, civil society groups, and consumer advocates to members of the media and, inevitably, a few political enthusiasts eager to witness the unfolding drama of regulation and reform. The issue? A tariff order by EERC reducing the Band A tariff from 209 naira and 50 kobo to 160 naira and 40 kobo per kilowatt-hour. MainPower objected, alleging procedural unfairness and numerical misassumptions in the regulator's model. Under the Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission's Business Rules Regulation Number, EERCR 001-2024, and the Methodology for Tariff Regulation, EERCR 004-2024, the licensee has a right to petition within 30 days if dissatisfied, and a formal hearing may be required if agreement on cost parameters is not reached within 21 days. The panel, chaired by Commissioner Ruben Okoye of EERC's Electricity Market Operations Unit, started by inviting the MainPower defense team to take an oath and make their submission.
Shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
Shall be the truth,
The whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Amen.
MainPower's head of regulatory, Uche Okala, mounted a vigorous defense, setting the regulatory ground for RAB, assets, liabilities, offtake volumes, and state-level transitions. A position backed by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's order on the delineation of assets and liabilities of distribution licensees.
And what we are talking about here is the epicenter of our business, which is the unit price we charge for what we serve. And this is coming from the grid. What we are serving is coming from the grid with manifold implications about remittances back to the grid so that the grid will not collapse. It's not only here in Enugu where it is. So it is a solemn issue and it has to be approached solemnly.
Before the hearing, EERC maintained that the tariff of 160 naira and 40 kobo per kilowatt-hour was prudently determined, and that its enabling law, the Enugu State Electricity Law No. 1 of 2023, empowers it to regulate electricity operations in the state. The regulator also flagged that states which have assumed regulatory oversight may develop their own tariff methodologies within the broader framework under the Electricity Act 2023. The technical session, steered by a former managing director of the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, Dr. Marilyn Amobi, drilled into assumptions on ATC and C loss, energy allocation, regulatory asset base, OPEX, CAPEX, and escalation due to inflation and foreign exchange, the core metrics underpinning a cost-reflective, sustainable tariff.
What has been impacted on us is the price at which we are selling the product. If the price at which we are selling the product is reduced, our ability to meet that wholesale price is impaired. That's what we are talking about. The tempering is not at the price of energy. It's a price at which we are selling the product.
MainPower's CEO, Dr. Ernest Mapwaya, presented the RAB value of 65.4 billion naira, along with an overview of the company's ATC and C loss reduction commitment. However, EERC skeptics, including members of the technical panel, cross-examined the assumptions and demanded further clarifications.
You start from the historical cost of these assets, consider depreciation, then consider inflation, which comes to revaluation. Because if you revalue MainPower's assets as it is today, we are definitely going to get something higher than this 65 billion.
The Commission is still relying on the same provisions in the business rule to proceed so that as much as possible, we would have a fair hearing, submission of all the things you have done, and a decision will be made.
MainPower's head of business intelligence and process improvement, Dr. Ilo Faustinus Chinedu, argued that EERC used an energy allocation of 1,140 gigawatt-hours, as against the target of 964.26 gigawatt-hours, submitted by MainPower in its May 15, 2025 proposal. The crux, he stressed, lay in the energy misallocation that caused the Commission to wrongly reduce the Band A tariff from 209 naira and 50 kobos to 160.40 per kilowatt-hour, instead of the correctly computed 198 naira and 58 kobos per kilowatt-hour. There would have been no need for this back and forth if the EERC had not been in such haste to issue its tariff order without due diligence and fair hearing on the matter.
By that singular mistake, if you run your simulation where you got 160.4, you will have 198.58 just by using the energy and also leaving every other thing you have left in that model. So that is one of the key issues we identified. In fact, the gap, when we say we have a gap of over 1.3, 1.7 billion, that is the fundamental area. And it's something that we consider that is a grave oversight that we should actually look at if we actually want to move forward, because this is the reality.
Electricity is the lifeblood of any modern society, the invisible current that powers homes, industries, hospitals, and innovation itself. Yet its sustainability depends not merely on cables and transformers, but on the precision of numbers, the fairness of processes, and the integrity of assumptions behind every tariff order.
You would agree with me that there are several meetings thereby not breaching the right of fair hearing, as you are claiming.
After that bilateral engagement, which we had between 2nd to 4th of July, the next port of call, the next thing to do is to have a formal hearing before a tariff is announced. Not, you don't have that tariff announced and after having formal hearing. That's what we said. So if you don't do it that way, the fair hearing becomes an issue.
Yes, if there should be a review, it should just be we are trying to be magnanimous as the consumers who have always been at the blunt side to say 165.
In your submission, you ended by saying 5 naira per kilowatt hour additional to 160. Is that based on empirical calculation or just speculative on subjectivity?
Yes, our conclusion, if there should be a review at all, we are saying 165.
Now, as the Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission deliberates on the outcome of its public hearing, the stakes are far greater than mere figures on a spreadsheet. For MainPower, the issue is existential. Without accurate assumptions, its operations risk becoming financially unviable, threatening the reliability of power supply to thousands of customers. The verdict of the EERC panel will echo far beyond Enugu. Under the Electricity Act 2023, subnational regulators must prove that devolution of power sector governance can deliver both investor confidence and consumer protection. The question remains, can a model built on faulty assumptions truly power a sustainable future? Because, in the end, for power to flow, numbers must align, and in Enugu's electricity story, the balance of progress rests on every calculated kilowatt hour.